The work to halve violence against women and girls in a decade started the day the government entered office, and I pay tribute to my colleague Jess Phillips for her work in this area. The government have already announced a series of cross-government measures, including a £13.1 million investment into the creation of a national policing centre for violence against women and girls, and measures to tackle specific crime types, including honour-based abuse, spiking and stalking. Our cross-government strategy approach underpinning a new strategy will be published as soon as possible.
I thank my noble friend, the Minister, for his reply, and I'm so pleased that our government has this policy. So could he say the commitments in the manifesto, what action is being taken to ensure schools address misogyny so that boys and girls are being taught about healthy relationships and consent, and what progress is being made of introducing domestic abuse experts in 999 control rooms so that victims can talk directly to a specialist, and ensure there's a legal advocate in every police force area to advise victims at the moment of report to trial, and what progress has been made of having specialist rape and sexual offence teams in every police force, and fast-tracking of rape cases with specialist courts in every Crown Court in England and Wales.
I'm grateful to my noble friend. We've made progress on all three of those objectives. The Department of Education and my colleague, Noble Lord Smith of Malvern, has published an updated curriculum this year which includes teaching online safety and awareness of healthy relationships. We have already introduced domestic abuse specialists in the first 5 police forces under what we call Raneem's Law, and we'll expand the rollout to more police forces very shortly, as soon as possible. And we're also working with key stakeholders on the delivery of legal advocates, and we're hoping to make further announcements on that very shortly.
I welcome the government aims to halve violence against women and girls, but we need to see concrete action to achieve that goal. Female genital mutilation causes immediate and long-term harm, and it's a crime that's underreported and under-prosecuted. The Home Office concluded a feasibility study in 2024 to examine how to produce robust prevalence estimates for FGM, and the Noble Lord the Minister back in March said that the government was considering the next step. So can I ask for an update on that?
I'm grateful to the Noble Baroness for both her commitment but also her continued pressure on the government on these issues. As she knows, in August this year the Home Office did announce 6 new measures to tackle honour-based abuse, and one of those measures is to conduct a pilot prevalence study to support the development of a national prevalence estimate for forced marriages and female genital mutilation. That's building on the work of the feasibility study that concluded in 2024, and work is already underway now on that issue, and I hope to update the House in due course.
Well, my Lords, we welcome the government's commitment to tackle and reduce domestic violence, but the number of victims hasn't come down over the years, sadly, and too many perpetrators, overwhelmingly men, don't appear to understand these are criminal offences, particularly from some communities. So does the Minister accept we need a widespread public awareness and information campaign to help inform victims and their families of their rights, the law, where they can get help, alongside embedding more education on healthy relationships in schools, alongside enforcement such as the stepping up of use of domestic abuse orders?
I'm grateful to the noble lady for those comments. As I've mentioned in answer to earlier questions, the Department of Education has now issued curriculum reviews on the issue of health and education, and indeed I understand that new guidance has been issued on this issue. She's absolutely right that we need to make sure there's not just greater awareness but also zero tolerance, and the expected violence against women and girls strategy that I'm hoping will be published very shortly will cover a range of the issues that the noble lady has mentioned. I look forward to that contributing to the government's measurable objective of reducing violence against women and girls significantly as per a manifesto commitment.
My Lords, what measures is His Majesty's Government taking to address online harassment and technology-facilitated abuse directed against women and girls?
It's extremely important, and I think that there is both the potential for the government to examine how that is undertaken, because harassment and misogyny, in terms of the issues that my noble friend have mentioned, are subject to tight regulation and tight legislation as a whole. We also need to work, I think, with the technology companies to ensure that under the Online Safety Act, information that is put online that is offensive, that is breaching the legislation, is taken down speedily.
My noble friend the Minister, a little bit further on the police training. I know that now it is much better than it was, but it is still a postcode lottery. And I don't think they always understand the different kinds of abuse there is, particularly honour abuse. And also, I think it's important that policemen on the beat are aware and know what to do if somebody approaches them. This is quite often the first time that a victim has felt able or free, perhaps, to see someone. And it's important that they know immediately what to do and can take that person to a place of safety.
The noble lady makes a very valuable point, and I think it is important that we have police officers who understand the impact of domestic abuse and violence against women and girls, and are very often, as the noble lady has mentioned, the first port of call. Again, I hope that in the forthcoming violence against women and girls strategy, which again I say to the House we hope to publish in very short order, will cover a range of issues about how we can raise the awareness and have a full policing response, as well as further potential government responses.
CPS have published their Violence Against Women and Girls 2025-2030 strategy, and indeed the previous government published their Violence Against Women and Girls strategy 2021, but I'm unable to find a strategy with the current government. Can the Noble Lord the Minister help me with this?
I can. I think I've said to the House now, but let me give him the latest on this. On the 17th of November, Minister Jess Phillips, who's responsible for this in another place in the House of Commons in Home Office orals, said the strategy will be coming out very soon, but we're already taking action. I give this assurance to the House that when I say very soon, I mean very soon. And I'm hopeful that the House will recognise that when it does come out very soonly, that they will know that I have said that the Violence Against Women and Girls strategy will come out very soon, and I hope that will satisfy the noble lord.
One of the problems at the moment is online images of what it is to be a young man, distorted images which imply that to be a young man is to be misogynistic and carrying with it assumptions of implicit violence. What does the government do online in order to counteract these false, distorted images of what it is to be a man?
I find it quite upsetting to see some of the images and some of the messages that are put out from people who, in some cases, face criminal charges currently in other countries. And I think it really is important that through the work that my noble friend Baroness Smith of Malvern is doing, that we address and work with schools and with communities to ensure that young men particularly respect everybody in society, and that they're not taking down some of the very false routes that currently appear on much of social media.
Can I ask the Noble Lord the Minister, what is the timescale for the Independent Commission for Grooming Gangs in terms of appointing a chair, publishing the terms of reference and so on? Is there any urgency there? And secondly, as these rape gangs are arguably the most shameful examples of state indifference, even collusion, in terms of the sexual abuse of girls, thousands and thousands of young white working class girls, does the Minister understand that delays and excuses implies that the commitment to violence against women and girls can come over rather cynically as just a slogan rather than action?
Well, let me assure the noble Baroness that it is not a slogan. It is a manifesto commitment to halve the level of violence against women and girls over a 10-year period. And it's a manifesto commitment to ensure that we take action on that issue as a matter of some urgency. She will know that we have been trying to recruit a chair for the National Grooming Inquiry over many weeks. We are still trying to do that. The anticipation is that we will hopefully achieve that as quickly as possible. We've enabled a member of this House, Noble Baroness Casey, to assist us in that recruitment. And again, even this very afternoon, we'll have debates in this House on the Police and Crime Bill on those issues. It is the intention of government to establish the inquiry as soon as possible, and I will keep this House updated.
My Lords, it feels like an appropriate moment to pay tribute to my noble friend Baroness Gale, who has worked so hard on this issue for so long, and to remember the friend of this whole House, the late, great Baroness Newlove. What is the government doing to ensure that the new Victims Commissioner is involved in the consultation and development of the strategy? And will the new Commissioner be properly resourced to help implement it?
I'm grateful both to the recognition of my noble friend Baroness Gale, who I looked up today. She was asking me questions about this very week, this time last year, so she's not one to not be persistent on the same issues. I also pay tribute to the late Baroness Newlove for her work as Victims Commissioner. My noble friend will know that the Victims Commissioner was already replaced from January of next year. And self-evidently, we're hoping to produce the Violence Against Women and Girls strategy very shortly. But I will ensure that the new Victims Commissioner examines both the potential future government strategy and is involved in its challenge and its delivery.